Imagine for a moment that deep within you lies a force so powerful, so unstoppable, that it can take you from where you are right now to any dream you've ever dared to imagine. This isn't a fantasy. This is real. There is a hidden power inside you, one that has built empires, changed destinies, and transformed ordinary people into legends. The secret formula to unlocking this power was uncovered by one of the greatest success philosophers in history. And today you will discover that formula. The only question, Isco, are you ready to awaken the power within you? There is a force that silently governs every act of achievement, every story of triumph, and every rise from humble beginnings to magnificent heights. It is not a mystery reserved for a select few, nor is it a privilege gifted by chance. This force begins with a single, clear decision that defines everything that follows the decision to possess a definite purpose that burns so deeply within that it becomes the driving obsession of one's life. Without such purpose, even the most talented individuals drift aimlessly, their potential wasted, their dreams evaporating into the winds of indecision. The human mind, more powerful than any engine ever built, responds to the clarity of purpose in ways that defy ordinary explanation. When an individual decides exactly what they desire in life, with vivid precision, the mind springs into action. It begins to organize thoughts, summon ideas, and illuminate paths that were once hidden in shadows. The very fabric of reality seems to bend in favor of the one who knows what they want with absolute certainty. This clarity acts like a beacon in the dark, attracting the necessary people, opportunities, and circumstances to converge at the perfect moment. But clarity alone is not enough. It must be accompanied by a white-hot intensity, a burning desire that refuses to be extinguished. This desire must dominate every thought, every waking moment, and even infiltrate the dreams that fill one's nights. When desire is elevated to this level, it transforms into a creative force that fuels every action. Decisions are no longer made with hesitation, but with boldness. Fear is replaced by determination. Doubt melts before the heat of unwavering conviction. Consider the countless individuals who began with nothing but a vision. They had no wealth, no connections, no visible means to achieve their lofty ambitions. Yet, they possessed a purpose so deaf that every fiber of their being was committed to its realization. They saw the end result so clearly in their minds that it became more real to them than their present circumstances. Their current limitations were mere temporary facts, while the image of their ultimate success was an unshakable truth. This is the power of a definite major purpose. Once a person identifies what they truly want, they begin to notice opportunities they had previously overlooked. Their senses sharpen, their awareness heightens, and coincidences seem to multiply in their favor. What others perceive as luck is nothing more than the natural consequence of a mind that is constantly tuned to a single frequency. This frequency attracts like energy, like a magnet drawing metal filings from the dust. The world begins to conspire in favor of the determined. But even as the purpose becomes clear and the desire intensifies, another force rises to sustain the journey. Faith. Faith is not a passive hope that things might work out. It is not a timid wish whispered in moments of doubt. True faith is an unshakable inner knowing that success is not only possible but inevitable. It is a mental state so powerful that it overrides every opposing thought, dismisses every obstacle, and silences every voice of negativity. Faith begins where logic often ends. It requires belief in oneself and in the unseen forces that respond to conviction. The individual who possesses faith does not waver in the face of temporary defeat. Instead, they recognize every setback as a stepping stone, a necessary part of the grand design leading them closer to their objective. While others crumble under the weight of disappointment, the faithful see each failure as evidence that their goal is drawing nearer. There is a profound relationship between thought and reality. Every thought held with emotion and repetition imprints itself onto the subconscious mind, which then influences actions, decisions, and outcomes in ways that escape conscious awareness. The subconscious does not distinguish between thoughts of success and thoughts of failure. It accepts what it is fed and sets in motion the circumstances necessary to bring those thoughts into physical form. Therefore, faith becomes a deliberate act of choosing which thoughts to entertain and which to reject. The person who feeds their mind daily with affirmations of success, who visualizes their desired outcome with clarity and emotion, who speaks aloud their intentions with confidence, is engaging in a process that fortifies faith. Over time, these repeated mental exercises transform belief from a fragile hope into an indestructible certainty. The individual no longer asks if success will come. They expect it, they prepare for it, they act as though it has already been secured, and this expectation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The world responds to confidence. Doors open where walls once stood. Strangers offer assistance without being asked. Opportunities arise seemingly from nowhere. This is not coincidence. It is the manifestation of a mind aligned with its purpose and charged with faith. The person who radiates confidence attracts resources, partnerships, and solutions with magnetic power. Yet, faith must be guarded and nurtured, for it is constantly under attack by the forces of fear, doubt, and negativity. The voices of the world, critics, skeptics, and those paralyzed by their own limitations, will attempt to sow seeds of uncertainty. They will project their own failures onto the ambitious dreamer, warning of risks, dangers, and impossibilities. But the one who truly understands the nature of faith builds a fortress around their mind, allowing only empowering thoughts to enter. Every day becomes a battle to protect and strengthen faith. It requires vigilance, discipline, and a conscious decision to focus on what is desired rather than what is feared. The individual surrounds themselves with positive influences, inspirational messages, and supportive allies who reinforce their belief. They avoid the poisonous conversations of the defeated and seek out the wisdom of those who have triumphed. In this way, faith grows stronger, more resilient, and ultimately unbreakable. There comes a moment in the journey of every successful person when they are tested by adversity. These trials are not meant to destroy, but to refine. The universe challenges the depth of one's faith, presenting obstacles that appear insurmountable. It is in these defining moments that the true power of faith reveals itself. The weak surrender, the faithful persevere. They hold to their vision with greater determination, knowing that the darkest hour often precedes the dawn. In this process, faith and definite purpose merge into a single unstoppable force. The mind becomes a laser, cutting through distractions, resisting temptations to stray, and focusing all energy on the singular goal. Every action taken is purposeful. Every decision made serves the larger vision. Time is no longer wasted on trivial pursuits. The individual moves with precision, efficiency, and conviction, accelerating toward their desired outcome. And as they persist, an invisible momentum builds. What began as a spark grows into a flame, and then into an inferno of accomplishment. Success compounds upon success. Each victory, no matter how small, strengthens confidence and reinforces the belief that even greater achievements lie ahead. The initial vision, once seen only in the imagination, begins to materialize into physical reality. The dream becomes the life. Through this process, it becomes clear that the power to achieve massive success lies not in external circumstances, but within the mind. The ability to choose a definite purpose, to fuel it with burning desire, and to sustain it with unwavering faith activates forces that transform ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. The principles are timeless, universal, and accessible to all who are willing to commit to them fully. The question is never whether the formula works, but whether the individual is willing to apply it with the necessary intensity, discipline, and persistence. Those who do will discover that they possess far more power than they ever imagined. They will rise above mediocrity, surpass limitations, and accomplish feats that once seemed impossible. They will awaken to the realization that success was never a matter of luck, but of law, a law that responds to purpose and faith with absolute precision. Within the silent chambers of the mind lies a force that governs every outcome, every success, and every failure a person experiences. This force operates whether one understands it or not, and it obeys the commands it receives without hesitation or judgment. The astonishing truth is that every individual holds within their possession the key to programming this force, shaping their own destiny with nothing more than the thoughts they allow to dominate their consciousness. This process, simple in its principle yet profound in its power, is known to those who master achievement as the art of suggestion to oneself. Every thought a person repeatedly holds, especially those charged with strong emotion, penetrates into the subconscious mind. Once impressed upon the subconscious, these thoughts influence behavior, perception, decisions, and even the outer circumstances that unfold in life. The subconscious does not analyze, question, or discriminate between good and bad, right or wrong. It simply accepts what is planted and tirelessly works to transform it into reality. This is why so many people, unaware of this principle, allow negative beliefs, doubts, and fears to dominate their minds, thereby creating the very conditions they desperately wish to avoid. The individual who recognizes this power takes full responsibility for every thought entertained. They do not leave their mental environment to chance, for they understand that whatever occupies the mind most persistently will become their reality. Just as a garden left untended becomes overgrown with weeds, so too does an undisciplined mind become filled with the seeds of failure planted by external influences, fears, and the pessimism of others. The wise person becomes the deliberate gardener of their mind, planting only those seeds which lead to growth, abundance, and success. This deliberate planting is accomplished through the daily practice of conscious autosuggestion. The practitioner of this discipline speaks aloud their definite purpose with passion, clarity, and absolute certainty. They do not mumble empty phrases, nor do they approach the exercise with casual indifference. Each repetition is infused with belief, emotion, and vivid mental imagery. They see themselves already in possession of the success they seek. They feel the emotions they will experience when their goal is achieved. They allow these images to dominate their inner world until they become more real than their present circumstances. In the early stages, the conscious mind may resist. Doubts may whisper that the goal is too big, the obstacles too great, or the resources insufficient. But repetition, persistence, and emotional intensity eventually override these doubts. The subconscious, receiving its instructions, begins to influence attitudes, habits, and actions that naturally move the individual toward their desire. Suddenly, chance encounters, unexpected opportunities, and flashes of inspired ideas begin to appear. This is no accident. It is the direct result of aligning one's dominant thoughts with their deepest desires. Every individual becomes what they habitually think about. Success, therefore, is not an accident but a predictable consequence of deliberate thought management. The person who fills their mind daily with images of achievement, words of affirmation, and feelings of certainty will inevitably see their outer world conform to their inner vision. This principle is so powerful that it has transformed those who were once destitute into titans of industry, those who were once overlooked into leaders of movements, and those who were once doubted into legends whose names echo through history. Yet thought alone is not enough. The mind must be supplied with substance upon which to act. This substance is specialized knowledge, distinct from the general knowledge taught broadly in schools and institutions. While general knowledge provides a foundation, it rarely leads to wealth, influence, or great accomplishment. Specialized knowledge, on the other hand, is focused, practical, and directly applicable to one's definite purpose. It empowers the individual to take informed action, make wise decisions, and navigate the complexities of their chosen field with precision and confidence. The world rewards not the one who knows a little about everything, but the one who masters a specific area and becomes indispensable within it. Specialized knowledge transforms the dreamer into a doer, the visionary into a builder. It bridges the gap between desire and achievement, providing the tools necessary to translate ambition into tangible results. The person who understands this devotes themselves to constant learning, not for the sake of collecting facts, but for the purpose of acquiring the exact skills, strategies, and information required to advance toward their definite aim. In the pursuit of specialized knowledge, the wise individual recognizes that learning never ends. They become students for life, always seeking new insights, staying attuned to advancements in their field, and refining their expertise. They do not wait for knowledge to come to them, but actively pursue it through books, mentorships, seminars, and direct experience. They understand that the landscape of opportunity is constantly shifting, and only those who stay informed can seize the doors that open. But acquiring knowledge is not enough. It must be applied. Knowledge unused is powerless. The person who studies learns and then boldly implements what they know creates momentum. They test ideas, measure results, and adapt with flexibility. Every action taken provides feedback, revealing what works and what requires adjustment. Through this continuous cycle of learning and application, mastery is achieved. Others may possess talent or luck, but the one who applies specialized knowledge with relentless focus will outpace them all. Importantly, specialized knowledge need not be possessed entirely by the individual alone. The most successful understand the value of assembling a network of experts, advisors, and collaborators who collectively supply the knowledge necessary for complex achievements. The wise leader surrounds themselves with those whose knowledge complements their own, creating a synergy of minds that magnifies their power. They humbly acknowledge what they do not know and strategically fill those gaps with the expertise of others. There is no shame in seeking help, guidance, or instruction. In fact, the refusal to do so is often the mark of arrogance and eventual failure. The person committed to massive success views every expert as a potential ally in the pursuit of their purpose. They build relationships with mentors who have already walked the path, learning from both their victories and their mistakes. They tap into the wisdom of those who have mastered their craft, shortening their own learning curve and avoiding costly errors. As specialized knowledge accumulates and is applied, confidence grows. Each small victory reinforces belief in one's ability to achieve greater results. Doubts fade as competence rises. The individual becomes a recognized authority in their field, sought after for their insight, respected for their expertise, and rewarded for the unique value they offer. Their reputation becomes an asset that opens doors once closed, and their ability to create wealth, impact, and influence expands exponentially. The marriage of autosuggestion and specialized knowledge creates an unstoppable formula. Autosuggestion programs the mind to believe in the possibility of success, while specialized knowledge equips the mind with the means to achieve it. Together, they form a dynamic partnership, with each strengthening the other. The more specialized knowledge one acquires, the more powerful the autosuggestions become, and the more powerful the autosuggestions become, the more motivated one is to seek even deeper knowledge. This cycle of growth becomes self-perpetuating. What began as a spark of desire evolves into a roaring fire of confidence, competence, and accomplishment. The individual no longer wonders if they will succeed. They know that success is inevitable because they have the internal foundation and external expertise required to achieve it. They have become the architects of their own destiny, wielding the invisible forces that shape reality. Through this journey, it becomes evident that limitations are largely self-imposed, born from ignorance and doubt. When the mind is disciplined through autosuggestion and strengthened through specialized knowledge, these limitations dissolve. The individual who once doubted their own potential now stands empowered, fully aware that they possess the tools to overcome any obstacle, seize any opportunity, and create any future they desire. The world, once filled with intimidating challenges, transforms into a playground of possibilities. Opportunities that once seemed distant now appear within reach. Problems that once felt overwhelming become puzzles to solve with confidence. The individual rises above circumstances, no longer a victim of chance, but a master of cause and effect. They understand that every great achievement begins with a thought, is nurtured through belief, is equipped through knowledge, and is realized through decisive action. This power is available to all who dare to claim it. It requires no special privilege, no inherited advantage, no stroke of luck. It asks only that the individual take full responsibility for their thoughts, commit to the daily practice of mental discipline, and pursue the knowledge necessary to fulfill their unique purpose. Those who accept this responsibility unlock a life of unlimited potential, leaving behind mediocrity and stepping boldly into greatness. There comes a time in the pursuit of every great dream when the journey seems unbearably difficult. The path becomes steep, obstacles multiply, and doubt creeps in like a cold wind in the night. The excitement of the beginning fades, replaced by long hours of labor, repeated failures, and the mocking voice of discouragement whispering that perhaps it was all impossible from the start. This is the point where most people stop. This is the moment where the vast majority give up, allowing temporary defeat to turn into permanent failure. But there is a rare kind of individual who continues, who refuses to surrender, who presses forward with unyielding resolve no matter how heavy the burden or how fierce the storm. This is the person who possesses a hidden weapon of persistence. Persistence is not simply continuing, it is continuing with purpose, with determination, with a mind locked so firmly upon the outcome that no setback can shake it. It is the steady, disciplined refusal to retreat, even when the world offers 1,000 reasons to turn back. Every person who has ever achieved anything of significance has walked through these moments of trial. They have faced closed doors, empty bank accounts, shattered plans, and public ridicule. Yet they did not allow these defeats to define them. Instead, they treated every obstacle as a test of worthiness, a challenge that must be overcome to reach the prize waiting on the other side. The secret power of persistence lies in its ability to convert failure into fuel. Each setback, when viewed through the eyes of a persistent mind, becomes a lesson, a source of information revealing what does not work and pointing toward what might work next. The persistent individual does not fear failure because they have learned that failure is never final unless it is accepted as such. Each failure brings them closer to their goal, sharpening their strategy, deepening their resolve, and toughening their spirit. The blows of life that break others serve only to strengthen the one who persists. There is no talent, no brilliance, no amount of luck that can replace persistence. Many gifted people fall short because they lack the will to endure. Many brilliant plans go unrealized because their creators gave up when faced with resistance. But the person who cultivates the habit of persistence develops a power far greater than talent or luck. They become unstoppable. Life may slow them down, but it cannot defeat them. Critics may mock, but their words fall upon deaf ears. Circumstances may grow dark, but the persistent carry their own light within them, guiding their steps toward eventual victory. The seed of persistence is planted when a person possesses a definite purpose, backed by burning desire, but it grows through deliberate practice. Every time a person continues when they feel like quitting, every time they take one more step when exhaustion sets in, they strengthen the habit of persistence. Like muscles exercised repeatedly, the will grows stronger with each test. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes second nature. The person who once struggled to endure for a day develops the power to endure for years, if necessary, until success is achieved. Persistence also has a strange way of drawing assistance from unexpected places. The universe seems to reward those who refuse to quit. Doors previously closed swing open. Allies who had not appeared before step forward. Circumstances shift in ways that cannot be logically explained. It is almost as if life tests one's resolve, holding back its greatest treasures until it is certain the seeker will not turn away. Only when absolute commitment is demonstrated does life yield its richest rewards. But even the most persistent among us are human. There are moments when fatigue threatens to overpower even the strongest will. There are days when doubt gnaws at the mind like a relentless parasite. In these moments, the persistent one turns to a higher form of support, for the lucky few, drawing strength not only from within but from a powerful alliance of minds joined together in harmony. This is where the mysterious and magnificent force known as the Mastermind comes into play. When two or more minds come together in perfect harmony, they create an invisible force far greater than the sum of the individual parts. It is not merely collaboration or teamwork, it is a higher intelligence, a blending of energy and insight that produces ideas, solutions, and strategies none could have discovered alone. The Mastermind is the ultimate amplifier of human potential, a source of strength that sustains persistence and fuels creativity when individual energy wanes. The person who understands the power of the Mastermind carefully selects those who join their inner circle. These are not casual acquaintances, but trusted allies who share the same values, the same level of commitment, and the same unwavering belief in the purpose being pursued. Each member brings unique strengths, perspectives, and knowledge, and together they form a unit that is capable of accomplishing what no individual could achieve in isolation. The Mastermind serves many roles. In moments of confusion, it offers clarity. In times of discouragement, it offers encouragement. When blind spots threaten progress, the Mastermind provides honest feedback and alternative viewpoints. Its members hold each other accountable, ensuring that each remains true to the purpose and refuses to slip into complacency. The energy of the Mastermind is contagious, igniting fresh determination and creative thinking even when the path grows difficult. Beyond emotional support and intellectual guidance, the Mastermind generates something even more powerful: inspiration. Ideas flow like a mighty river when minds unite with a shared goal. Solutions appear that seem to come from nowhere. Challenges that appeared insurmountable are suddenly reduced to manageable tasks. Each person's faith feeds the others, creating a rising tide of confidence that lifts all members higher than any could rise alone. The greatest leaders, inventors, and builders of history have all relied on the power of the Mastermind, whether they named it or not. They gathered around them trusted advisors, partners, and supporters who contributed their unique abilities toward the fulfillment of a common vision. Some brought technical knowledge, others provided strategic thinking. Still others offered moral support or access to vital resources. But together, united in harmony, they became an unstoppable force. The Mastermind is not reserved for the privileged few. Any person, regardless of their background or current circumstances, can form such an alliance. It requires only a clear purpose, a burning desire, and the willingness to surround oneself with individuals who are equally committed to growth and achievement. It demands that egos be set aside, that jealousy be banished, and that every member contribute in the spirit of mutual benefit. When these conditions are met, the power unleashed is beyond measure. Persistence sustained by a Mastermind becomes a force of nature. The individual no longer carries the burden of their dream alone. They have allies who share the load, who celebrate victories and stand firm during trials. The Mastermind becomes a refuge when storms rage and a springboard when opportunities arise. Its energy is self-renewing, its insight ever-expanding, and its strength unbreakable. This combination of personal persistence and collective power accelerates success in ways few can imagine. What once might have taken a lifetime to achieve can be realized in a fraction of the time. Obstacles that would have halted a lone individual are swept aside by the combined genius and determination of the group. Every meeting becomes a laboratory of achievement, where ideas are tested, refined, and implemented with precision. The person who persists and aligns themselves with the Mastermind does not walk the common path. They rise above the crowd. not because they are lucky or special, but because they have tapped into the deeper laws that govern success. They understand that persistence overcomes failure and that the mastermind multiplies strength. These are not vague theories, but principles that, when applied, transform ordinary lives into extraordinary legacies. While others hesitate, complain, and surrender to discouragement, the persistent mastermind builder moves forward steadily, purposefully, and joyfully. Their confidence is unshakable, not because they expect life to be easy, but because they know that no difficulty is greater than the combined power of their own determination and the collective wisdom of their mastermind alliance. Each day becomes a new step toward the realization of a vision so clear that nothing can stand in its way. Ultimately, the fusion of persistence and mastermind is what separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. It is the difference between hoping for success and creating it. The person who masters these forces enters into a partnership with life itself, orchestrating their future with intention, discipline, and a quiet inner knowing that they are on a path few dare to travel, but many will one day admire.